Hello, this is not a review, it's just me looking at a thing and talking about it. This is the RG, or real grade, RX-78-2 Gundam from Bandai. Now let me see if I can get this right. This was the first real grade, or RG, Gundam that they ever did. It is based on the first Gundam, the RX-78-2, from the first Gundam series from 1979. And it's also my personal first ever RG. It should be my only RG ever that I have, because as I've said many times, a lot of times folks don't like to hear me when I say this, but I've said many times, 1/100th scale is my scale, and this is not it. This is 1/44th scale. Not interested in being sold on RG Hainu, RG Sinanju, RG God Gundam. I'm not interested in being sold on anything that I'm personally not interested in. I got this one here in particular for educational purposes. A little bit for myself, but mostly for viewers over on Twitch who come in not familiar with Gundam at all and who have questions like, what is an EG? What is an HG? What is an RG? With this in my arsenal, I will be able to show and explain based on experience, and also having the thing there in person. First impressions, it looks beautiful. I mean, for what it is, it has so much detail for this small size, so much surface level detail. And the things that contribute to that detail include the stickers, and they are stickers, not decals, of which there are many, including some bright metallic ones in copper and gold. I used almost all of the stickers, not all of them. A handful of them really didn't need to be used if you have access to a marker. This also has lots of good panel lines on it, all these little lines where you can get the fine detail. You don't get the full blackened or grayed out effect of those to really make them pop, especially you can see on the back of the shield very clearly here. But with the use of panel lining markers or paint, whatever you want to use, it's very easy to get those to show up because the lines are prescribed into the plastic in the mold. Yeah, it just was very easy to get that nice detail to appear in this model. And it also has 3 different colors of white and technically 2 different colors of red and 2 different colors of blue, just adding even more differentiation for the eyes to see different things as your eye scans over it. So down in the legs, you can see clearly kind of a white and then a very light gray. Around the back, you can more clearly see some slightly brownish or like a light beige. I think there's a piece, yeah, right down in here, you get a little bit of the beige as well. Now you can see the 2 different colors of red, different colors of blue in it. The build process for this was surprisingly simple and easy. I mean, it has really small pieces, as these will do, as real grades will have, being this scale, but having way more detail, way more complexity than a high grade, for example. But just following the instructions as a Gundam building amateur, I didn't have any trouble with it until I got to the shoulders. The shoulders were very finicky. Shoulders and upper arms were very finicky. And I've verified from folks with a ton more experience than me that it's not just me. The shoulders are notoriously finicky on this. This was, again, the very first ever RG. It is not perfect. Newer models are better. Everybody's going to want to comment about that who has the experience. Newer ones are better, but this is not bad. This is not something that I, as even an amateur, could recommend against if you like the look of this one in particular. Of course, again, everybody with experience is going to push you towards the high new, towards the Sinanju, towards the new, towards the God Gundam, and there are others as well. But most of the ones that are newer are technically better, with few exceptions, the Zeta being notoriously awful. People call it a hand grenade. Basic Unicorn can be a little bit rough to build, but I like this. I enjoyed this. I'm happy with this. I didn't have to do any customization. I just did basic panel lining with it, and that's it. And then just put the stickers on it, and it came out like this. It also comes with some other things as well. This has the full core fighter core block system. You can pull the top off and fold this thing up, transform this thing. It kind of wants to fold itself up, almost just sitting there, but you know, it's a 1/44th scale core fighter. And again, it does fully transform. The front folds down and squishes in, the wings fold up, tail folds down, and then you just have to remove the landing gear from underneath. And as you see, this has a number of stickers, and it gives you some panel lining opportunities on there as well. Kind of cool, but tiny. Some folks will like the really tiny stuff. Also, while I'm looking over here up close, let me show you also the Hyper Bazooka is included with the white barrel and the white insert elements with a bunch of stickers on this as well. I personally find that stickers are much more convenient than water slides, and certainly more than dry transfers when you're using a mostly white model, because you don't see the edges. And this model has not been top coated yet, but even at that, you don't see the edges that badly, the edges of the stickers. Anything that's not primarily white though, I very much prefer the water slides for long-term display. It just looks better. Though again, this is not a review, and I'm not going to get into the Gundam reviewing business because that would take a lot of the enjoyment out of the hobby for me. I just want to build these things, enjoy the build process, and then put them on display and enjoy having them on display. I do want to show you here in this video a little bit of the articulation that's possible with this, because this did introduce this. I believe this was the very kit that introduced the multiple mold in place design of a soft plastic over hard plastic, movable joints, all molded together. The entire inner frame of the leg, of each leg, is essentially one piece, but at the same time many pieces that are all connected together and come off the sprue as one part, and then you kind of break their seals and you get it all to start moving, and it feels cool. It looks even cooler still. There are just all these parts. Now this is actually, it did pop off. I was afraid of that. You see it a little bit better here. So this actually is a ball joint that's inserted in there, but most of the inner gray there comes off as one. Then you add stickers on it. Of course, you add the armor pieces on, but it's nice that this also has the armor splitting functions as necessary to get a little bit more range of motion in there. I think there's a little bit of range of motion down here as well. Was it? Oh yeah, those can split apart just a little bit, and you get like the toes. Look at that. The toes individually articulate, not individually, but the toe section articulates separate from the sole, separate from the heel, which is pretty nice for this small scale, for something that you actually assemble, you know, something that's not a die-cast preformed frame. So you get a lot of articulation out of this. The model though is a little bit fragile. These legs will come off easily, even if you're not being rough with it. The arms will fall off right here at this joint, this rotation joint. They will fall off right there. You can see, oops, this just fell out of the hand there. These are actually articulated, partially articulated hands. They also give you single piece hands, but these have multiple ball joints in there. So 3 of the fingers are connected. Index finger is its own thing, so you can get it into that trigger finger pose, and then the thumb is its own thing separately. There's one other, oh yeah, so like I mentioned, the inside of this can split open to allow you to put the core block in there. Just lost one of those. Did I mention that it's finicky? This also happens a lot. This is not something that I want to be. That's not where it needs to come apart. Not something that I want to be. So the core block insert is up in there. And you replace that space in there with the fighter instead. It's not something that I want to be posing a lot. Here's a look at the upper arm. See how the armor splits there as well to get you more articulation. And you know, they've used this same technique in other suits since then, but this was an early example of it. So you're able to really pose this thing quite a bit. And of course, the newer things have gotten better up to the point of the God Gundam, which has godlike articulation to it. Really good kit. But for a first try at really maximizing the potential of this scale as a simple snap together plastic kit, this is super impressive. Really like the level of detail, and I personally can forgive some of its fragility, given that it's just made out of polystyrene. You know, it's not the hardest material. It's relatively easy to work with. Again, the assembly process itself was simple. Well, simple enough, exception of just the upper arms being a little bit wonky to me. But yeah, they really pack a lot into such a small space. That's about enough for now from me about this. If you want to learn about individual Gundam kits, of course, check out Gundam kit review channels from folks who are really experienced at this stuff and can spend the days and days in all the filming angles and all the editing to show you absolutely everything there is to see about a given kit. But I'm just over here playing around, enjoying the hobbies. One last thing before I wrap up, I do want to point out that the gold stickers for the vents on the chest are not that cool, because they actually need to be bent around. They're super thin and they need to be bent down, and they're thin foil, not like the thicker foil that comes on a separate foil sheet. Personally, if I were to do this over, I would just paint those if I wanted them to be gold at all. The yellow is fine. The gold is a little bit cooler, but the stickers themselves are not enjoyable to place, and the end result here is not ideal, as I definitely did not get that perfect. But the rest of the stickers, I'd say I'm happy with. And just overall, again, very happy with this experience. Very happy for people who continue to focus on RGs and do the newer ones, get the, all the most recommended ones, and the ones that I didn't list for all the RGs, all the PGs, everything. Everybody should enjoy the hobby the way that they want to, not be too eager to push their way onto other people. That's why I'm sometimes defensive in the things that I say in some of the videos. Might sound a little bit strange to some folks. It's because I've had just way too many experiences of people trying to force their way of enjoying a hobby onto me, either directly and aggressively or passive aggressively, kind of off the side. I just don't need any of that. I'm enjoying this process. I'm enjoying this hobby. I'm enjoying trying out different things. I'm enjoying the successes. I'm enjoying some small failures along the way as well. It's all learning experience, and it really is genuinely good for me, and not too expensive either, at least per kit. I do have that backlog though. Got a lot of stuff to get through, so I'll get to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.